Hello, welcome to video 3 of the InVenture Challenge Arts Integration mini-series. In this video, I'm going to talk about some principles of poster design, which your students might learn in a digital design or marketing class in a high school. These 5 tips I'm presenting to you are distilled from my years of experience creating and presenting posters at scientific conferences. I will actually be using an old poster of mine from my time in Dr. Ann Murphy's lab at GSU, Georgia State University, as an example in some of the slides. Tip number 1 is to choose a good color scheme. This goes back to the arts integration within the prototype lesson. Students could use a monochromatic, meaning shades of one color, complementary, meaning opposite color like red and green, or analogous, meaning similar colors like magenta, red, and vermilion. You will be using the color scheme to draw your viewer's eyes to certain places on the poster, so it's very important to only use 3 to 4 colors. More than that can be very distracting, and your viewers might not know where to look if there are different colors everywhere. Pictures can, of course, have as many colors as they need, but it may be wise to put a border around your picture that is within the color scheme. Tip number 2 is to use white space wisely. White space is areas of your poster that are plain white. While having too little on your poster makes it seem like you don't have anything important to say, having way too much on the poster can be overwhelming and make people not want to look at it. Using white space allows you to put all of the information you need on your poster while keeping it spaced out so the information is not overwhelming. One easy way to use white space wisely is to avoid big blocks of text. Use meaningful paragraph breaks to add spaces. If the paragraph really belongs as one big chunk, use a picture to break it up some. You can also make boxes around different parts of your poster so that you, as the maker of your poster, have margins to keep your words and text within, and it looks organized and flows well to viewers. This is my example poster. I want you to notice how information is broken up into bullet points or paragraphs. Also notice that there is white space between paragraphs, headings, and images. The third tip is to choose your title and subtitles wisely. You'll want to capitalize appropriately, keep it short, and use active voice. An example of active voice is, "The sun melted the ice." Passive voice, which you want to avoid, would be, "The ice was melted by the sun." You'll also want to avoid absolutes like always and never. InVenture itself provides a Google slide that your students can fill out to make their poster. It has all of these pre-made headings, like product comparison, consequences of inaction. Whenever appropriate, your students can keep the InVenture headings, but you can also encourage them to branch out and write their own headings. The fourth tip is to align all parts of the poster. On Microsoft PowerPoint and Google Slides, there's a ruler feature so that you can see where things are. On PowerPoint, grid lines and guides are also available. Even more useful than all of that in aligning words and pictures is that these programs will naturally give you guidelines that show you where one box is matching up with another box. To get images aligned, first make them the same size. If they have very different dimensions, you can crop them if possible. If cropping is not an option, then at least align the picture so that they have the same top and bottom, as these do here, or so that they would match up on their sides, like an image would be here. The title and all your headings should be centered, and you want to make sure the words are the same size and font for each type of writing. Your title should be the biggest size, then all of your headings should be the same size that's slightly smaller than the title font size. Then the body text should be all the same size and smaller than the heading size. The actual font size you use will vary based on what font you're using. Some are naturally smaller and some are naturally larger. It also depends on what size paper you're using. If you're printing on 8.5 by 11 paper versus if you're actually going to get a poster printed. If your plan is to print the 8.5 by 11 pages, then print a few slides as practice to see how well you can read the different font sizes. This fifth tip is not for everyone because not all of your students will be using graphs or charts. However, for your students that do, be sure they're well labeled. Every graph needs a title that explains what it is, and all axes need to be labeled. Students can use a color-coded key, but try to ensure the colors fit within their color scheme. In a pie chart, label each of the parts of the pie. Again, this can be done through a color-coded key that fits your student's color scheme. This picture is from the poster I showed earlier. Don't worry too much about what the graph means. Just notice that it has a title, the X and Y axes are labeled, and I used a color-coded key to signify who the different data points are about. The worksheet for this is actually meant to be a digital activity. I have made a messed up version of my poster, and it is up to your students to try to fix it. They will need to check the font sizes, align pictures and text boxes, center headings, and more. By the end, hopefully it will return to looking something like this. If technology access is an issue at your school, you could also project the messed up poster on your screen and as a class discuss what you can fix in the poster. Alternatively, you could print a few color copies of the poster and then split students into groups, and then as a group they can write down all of the issues that they see in the poster. I purposely used my college level poster for this activity because when you're making the design of the poster, it doesn't really matter what you're saying. Of course, what you're saying is important, and when you're finalizing the poster, you'll want to make sure everything is grammatically correct. But in terms of the poster design, the words don't matter. How it looks does. So I'm using this because a first grader wouldn't know what it means, but hopefully a first grader could look and see that things might be out of alignment, or that something needs to be centered, or that the fonts are different sizes. I hope you enjoyed the third video about the poster.